All right. So, Reef Dudes just made a really cool video about how he's working with his calcium reactor to figure out his trace supplements. So what he did was he ran just his calcium reactor for 2 months and then did a ICP test, and then to see what the calcium reactor was doing and what it wasn't doing. And he was looking at Red Sea Trace and different things to replace. By the way, I love this flipper magnet. Look at this thing. You can see all the polyps waving around much easier. There's that shortcake. You can see the polyps on my stag moving around. Anyways, so he came back with some shortages, and he's going to use different methods, which he hasn't really determined yet, to let's take a look at this guy. To replace his trace elements, so he can get stuff going. Really interesting video. Definitely something that I'm interested in, something that I've been working on myself even. So I posted on his thing, and I decided to make a quick video because I have a method I use, and I thought it might be either helpful to him or anybody else. And certainly every tank's different. The fact that he's doing the test to see what his tank does, and that's what you want to do, you know. Because if, like, say I had a big clam in here or something, you know, I would be using a ton more iodine or something along those lines. So I figured I'd start off, you know, at the beginning with, you know, how my tank looks. And you know, that, because you know, I think, you know, that if what I have is kind of what you're looking for, you know, some SPS, some color and stuff like that, you know, at least you start with that. So now I'm gonna go down below, and oh, and I do have, look at that, I'm not a big Euphilia fan, and everybody calls me crazy for that, but I got at least one, and some Zoas in there too. Obligatory, right? So let's look at how we're dealing with these issues here. Okay, so let me turn my ISO up. There we go. Okay, so so I've got a Geo CR510 NANO. That's right up to 120. That's a 55-gallon display. It's got Reborn and Remag in it. Okay, and I do Fritz RPM. I do a 10-gallon water change every 2 weeks. So that I do get some trace elements from that. I run Phosguard, Aquaforest. I run Aquaforest Zeovit and Carbon, Roxaweight Carbon. That doesn't really have to do with trace elements. So my trace elements are down here. So this was when I was using adjusting my calcium reactor. I haven't put 2-part in quite some time now. So the mainstay is the ABC here. So component A, component B, component C. Okay, so it explains what these are. And the nice thing about Aquaforest is they have, if you look up Aquaforest PDF or Aquaforest method, they have a PDF which shows everything that you do for their system, and it's pretty straightforward. They have different types of reef. I'm following a heavy SPS reef, and or mixed reef with mostly SPS. That's the one I'm following. But this I felt gave me what the calcium reactor wasn't. So I did this for some time, and I went and did I like the ATI test because it tests my RO water, it tests my tank water, and It comes with an envelope to mail it, and it's $10 cheaper. So I just put the vial. I get my vials. I actually found my RO was high in silicates. So it was great. But anyways, I like the ATI test. So it showed me that a few things were low. So I was putting in this every week, and that was it. Now, the only other thing I put in on the weekly basis is the ProBio S. Okay, so but every week, 10 milliliters, just a normal dose. I have a decent load, but I just put in 10 milliliters. This is a 150 milliliter bottle for, I don't know, they're pretty cheap, but that's lasts me 15 weeks. And then they got the big bottles, which are even cheaper, per unit. So it came back. And it said my vanadium was low, and my, where is it at? Iodine was low. So I took the recommended vanadium dose of half a cc, and I basically put in half a cc of vanadium once a week with these. Okay. And iodine does say like 1 drop every day for 27 gallons, so I do 2 drops. So I didn't want to overdose it with iodine. So what I have is the other regimen is to do stuff every other day. So I'll show you that. So this is kind of like my whole regimen right here. Okay, so if you look on their website, it says to do aminos, energy, build, and vitality every other day. Okay, and so those are the 4 things. These are all pretty cheap too. They're not much, and they last a long time. They're just like 2 drops. There's only like 2 drops a piece. 1 drop every 25 gallons. So what I did was I added the Imodium to this. So that's every other day, and then every other day I also feed my coral. So I got the polyp lab polyp extender. I don't know if I'll buy it again. It's okay, but then I use half and half reefroids and reef chili in a little squirt bottle. So I do these every other day. So my routine is calcium reactor. I check my phosphates and my alkalinity once a week or every other week, depending. Every other week as it's stable. For my majors, okay. Once a week, I dose these 10 milliliters and a half of a cc. Every other day, I put 2 drops of each of these. It takes 2 seconds. At night, basically every other night, I do that. And I put my reef chili in, my polyp booster. I put my polyp booster in. Basically, I put my polyp booster in first, and then I drop all these in. And by the time I take 3 minutes to drop these in, I've got my reef chili ready. What I do is I mix this up a week at a time. I got the little BRS squirt bottle. It's just a little, 80 milliliter bottle, and I put like 2 scoops of, maybe the size of your pinky nail, 2 scoops of reef chili, 2 scoops of reefroids into that bottle, and I do a third of the bottle, so it lasts me a whole week. I put it in the fridge. I squirt a third of the bottle in when I do my thing. I put it in the fridge. I go get it, and it lasts a whole week. So that feeds my corals. That gives me all my traces, and it does that. So that's my regimen. It's been working, and so you saw the tank. That's why I started with the tank in the beginning. This is just the rest of my system here and stuff, but I'm happy with it. I will send out another ICP test, and with that being said, a little shout out to Rico, and we'll see where we're at now. You know what I mean? And I'll make an update video and show you adjustments as needed. But I like this method. I think this is a very modern method for reefing. ICP test every 3 to 6 months, $40, and it's like getting a coral frag. So you do that, and you can put in whatever you're missing. As you change corals, your tank's going to change. As they grow, they're going to change. And to take, I do it during my water change. Oh, and that's the last part. I'm sorry, water change. Fritz, like I said, 10 gallons. So what I do is I drain my water out as it's filling back up. I'm putting the stuff in. You know, it's part of my water change. It doesn't cause me a lot of headache or a lot of time. So, and I know my water's right. And it's not like it's major swings, you know, big amounts of stuff. I feel like I can't really overdose too bad. You know what I mean? I feel like I can't really underdose too bad. I just sort of got to have it in there and use it, and it just seems to work. So, and I like Aquaforest because it is cheap, and it's easy, and they lay it out in their stuff. So, I hope that helps. Thanks for the video, Reef Dudes, and I hope that gives you a little information on which way you want to go. Thanks. Bye.